So, welcome. I wanted to take the time to make you a brief video, probably one of a few, to sort of show you how to navigate the work that you're going to do over the summer for next year's AP Biology class. So, I wanted to start with giving you a sort of guide on how you would go about working through the learning guide for the two different sections that you need to complete over the summer. So, obviously, at this point, if you're watching this, you've been on the Google Classroom. And so on the Google Classroom, which I'm also sure you're very familiar with, underneath classwork, you'll see Start Here, which is where this video will be. And you'll notice that we have Summer Assignment Part 1 and Summer Assignment Part 2. And for each of these assignments, you have Summer Assignment Section 1 Evolution, and then down here you have Summer Assignment Part 2 Ecology. So these two documents are what will guide you through the learning process. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this first one, and I want to just sort of walk you through what this document is all about. So you'll notice that this says Section 1, Evolution, Origin of Life, Speciation, Classification, and Phylogeny. Mouthful, I know. You'll get what all that means by the time you're done with it. So what you're basically going to do is you're going to follow the steps in the document. So you'll notice over here, it says step 1, watch and take notes. So these videos are all Edpuzzle videos that you'll have to watch. And so if you go back to Google Classroom, you'll notice they're all down here. So when you watch the Edpuzzle videos, right, when you go through the video, I will rate this video as either 5 points, 4 points, or 3 points. When you look here underneath your grade section on this video, you will see a color-coded grade. It'll either be green if it's 80 or higher, yellow if it's 60 or higher, or red if it's below 60. If it's green, I'm giving you 5 out of 5. If it is yellow, I'm giving you 4 out of 5. And if it is red, I'm giving you 3 out of 5. And that's purposeful because while I want you to take care and think while you're watching these videos and answering the questions, I also want you to realize that they are not an assessment. The questions are actually there to sort of help you see the kind of things you want to focus on in the video itself. You also actually have two times that you can watch the video. And you can see over here, the video will have closed captions and you will be able to watch them at a higher speed. Not a thing that I can do, but I do know a lot of you do. So if you get through the video once and you don't like your score, you actually could just do the video again, all right? So those are the videos. So if you look at this thing, the first thing you want to do is watch all these videos, and you can check them all off. And then it says here, move on to step 2. So you just follow the arrow. So down here it says step 2, read these text chapter reviews. Now I have that underlined because I want you to understand, I'm not expecting you to read the entirety of chapter 20, chapter 22, and chapter 23, but rather the chapter review. So I will put a link to this up there. This is our textbook website, okay? I am going to have to, I'm moving the screen capture a little bit. I'm going to have to make another video to instruct you how to get in here just to make sure it's clear. But once you're in here, you'll notice that there's a option on the side panel that says e-text. So if you click on the e-text, right, it weirdly will make you open another window. So whatever. We'll go over here to our other window. Now, once you're in here, you'll notice it says chapter 20. So let's go to our other window. Table of contents. Go down to chapter 20. Chapter 20, phylogeny. Okay. Now here you'll see it's 20.1, 20.2, 3, 4, and then right here it has the chapter 20 review. So what I want you to start with is to go to the chapter review, and it says 20.1. Here's the summary of everything in 20.1, including links to vocabulary, all kinds of interesting stuff that you can look at, and then it has questions. And I want you to just go through the questions. You can check the answer in the textbook yourself. I don't need you to write it out. I'm not collecting an assignment. But if you don't try to answer the questions, if you don't read through this, you're not going to understand enough to move forward. So you go through this whole thing, the entirety of chapter 20, right? You've answered all the questions. You could even go to the test your understanding and go through these, see if you can figure out what these answers are. Don't bother doing like the level 3 stuff. it's just not going to be time a useful aspect of your time. Not that doing this wouldn't be valuable, but we have to be cognizant of the fact that we only have so much time to do all this. So once you have done the chapter reviews for 20, 22, and 23, and these checkboxes are here so you can check them off as you go, right? Then you follow the arrow. It says move on to step 3. So you move on to step 3. You'll notice this says you will find this on the TextBelt site, Mastering Biology. So once you've watched all the videos, read through the chapter reviews for these 3 chapters, you are going to take your first quiz on this unit. So your quizzes you will find under Course Home. It's always a little slow. And they will be under all assignments. They actually frequently will show up here. Your quizzes should always have a yellow key here on the side. But if you look, right, you will have a summer assignment quiz, part 1, origin of life, speciation, classification, and phylogeny, and it will say quiz 1. So you would click on this, you're going to take the quiz. So a couple things about taking the quiz. When you take the quiz, you are going to have 2 shots at every question. If you get the first one wrong, it will tell you it's wrong, and it will then let you pick another answer. You will lose a fraction of a point. So when your score is done, it might say like 0.3 or 0.2 or something on it. That's okay. Once you try once, if you get it wrong, it will not tell you the second time whether you got it right or wrong. If you get it right the first time, you'll know because it'll just move on to the next question. When you're done, it will give you your score. Once you have your score, you go back here, you put your quiz score in out of how many questions it was. Then you'll notice here that's the first time the arrow goes to the side. When it says, now go off and check what you feel like you understand, then move on to step 4. So up here are all the standards from the AP Biology curriculum that are in this section. And what you're going to do is you've watched the videos, you've read the chapter reviews, you've taken your first quiz, you now have a sense of what you do and don't know. And you're going to check off the boxes for the things you feel like you know. And you're going to leave the boxes for the things you don't feel like you know unchecked. And then you're going to take a look. So let's say in 7.9, you checked off most of the boxes. But in 7.10, you only checked off one box. You go down here to 7.10, this is step 4, and you can pick any of these activities. You could do one of them, you could do all of them, you could do the last one, but not the first one. You pick whatever you want, and you just check it off. So let's say that you're like, coloring sheet, that sounds interesting. So you're going to check that off, and then you go back here, and you look underneath section 1, here's our coloring sheets, right? So then you would open this, probably print this out, fill out the coloring sheet. Then you go back to this, and you're like, all right, now maybe I do feel a little better about this. And let's say that you don't really remember the origins of life, so you want to do the online assignment, right? So this is section 7.13. Go back to the textbook, and you look at your assignments. You will find down here 7.13 online assignment. And that will take you through it just for a little bit. There'll be like videos to watch, interactive questions to answer, all that kind of stuff. And then you go back here when you're done, check it off. When you feel like you have filled in the gaps for your understanding, you're going to take the second quiz. And that's what step 5 is. So you go back here, go down, you will find this. It'll be a little easier on your actual classroom page. This is what's left over from this year's AP Biology. You'll notice it says Summer Assignment Part 1, Origin of Life, Speciation, Classification, and Phylogeny Quiz 2, and you'll take this quiz. Again, you will have 2 chances at every question. You will lose a fraction of a point if you get it wrong the first time. When you take the quiz, you go back to this, fill in your number, and then you'll see step 6, assess your understanding for each of the standards using the drop-down menu and the guide at the top. So you got this arrow that points up here. So it's at this point, after you've taken both quizzes, done the extra assignments you've watched all the videos, read through the chapter reviews, now you would go here, and that's what this rubric at the top is about. You're going to rate your understanding of 7.9. as either no evidence, progressing, developing, proficient, or advanced. You see that over here? There's a description of what each of them mean. I will tell you the difference between proficient and advanced is that proficient feels like you understand it. Advanced feels like you could explain it to somebody else. And once you rate 7, 9, 10, 11, and 13, you go down here and you are going to give yourself a score on this out of 30. And you're going to rate your overall understanding for summer assignment section 1, evolution. Now, this right here is an activity that we're all going to do in the first 10 days of school when we come back. You will make a note about something that you would like feedback on from this section from me, and you will make a note about what steps you could do to improve your next learning guide like this. And then when you're done, you turn it in, and you go down to part 2, and you do summer assignment part 2, ecology, and go through the same process. Hopefully this video helps you understand how you read through the learning guide.